right, go ahead, fire away.
What's the latest on Joe Burrow?
It looks like he's going to need surgery. We're still working through all the details of that, what that timeline's going to look like. So that's really all the information I have today.
You have to put him in IR.
I don't want to make any determination right now. We'll get through the week, get all the information we can, and then we'll go from there.
Is the hope right now gathering second opinions? Is that what you're
Yeah, I think that's all the process they're going through right now, timeline and all that kind of stuff. So not information I have today.
What's your message to the team?
That we're 2-0, and we've got a lot of good energy right now. There's a lot of things that we can clean up with our football team to be better going forward. We have not put our best foot forward yet, and so that's what's exciting is that we found a way to be 2-0 right now, and we still haven't even played our best football collectively. So the goal this week is find a way to go on the road and be 3-0, and I know our guys are chomping at the bit for that opportunity.
If Joe does miss extended time, can you, Jake, and a lot of the same faces draw from 2023? Does that help?
Yeah, we have a ton of confidence in Jake. So he proved that yesterday against what I think everyone's going to see as a really good football team. He's done in the past. He's played against this team we're about to play, so he's got experience there. And so again, the point that you turn to now is excited for Jake to go out there and play, and he's earned the right to be in the spotlight. And so guys will rally behind him, and we'll get Jake's best.
Obviously, you're trying to prepare for Minnesota and do everything you do in the normal course load of a Monday after a game. But when you have something significant like this and there's so much to consider, what kind of a challenge is it for you and your staff?
It's just part of the process for us. You know, there's always some form of adversity you're gonna face, and it's how do you respond to it. And so again, it's there's not a lot we can do right now for Joe. You know, other than I feel terrible for him because he's put in all the work, and so for him to have to go through this is the worst part of it. But as a football team, we just got to continue to move forward, and that's what these guys are going to do. And so again, there's not a lot that takes up my time if that's what you're asking in terms of today. We're ready to move on to Minnesota and find a way to get after these guys.
In your conversations with Joe, how is he? What type of spirits is he in?
Well, it's hard for me to answer. You know, it's always disappointing when you have to go through this, but my experience with Joe is he's always been, upbeat and handle it the best that he can given the circumstances. I think that's always how he looks at it. But again, he can probably at some point answer that better than I can.
Was there any possibility of bringing in somebody else to that room designed to maybe eventually challenge Jake, or is it you guys are riding with Jake all year? That's the plan.
I feel very confident in Jake. I think Jake has proven his caliber in this league, and that he can help us win football games and contend for all the things that we want to contend for. With that being said, we're always open to bringing in other people at this point. We got 2 quarterbacks sitting in this room, and so I'm sure we'll turn over a lot of rocks trying to find another guy.
I didn't get a timeline or anything like that, but is there still at least hope in the building that Joe could be back at some point?
Yeah, I don't want to say anything that I can't fully answer right now.
Can you confirm that?
Shamar, doubtful for this week. He's got an ankle sprain. Again, we'll accumulate more information today, tomorrow as it goes, but doubtful for this week.
Any other injuries that you picked up?
Not as of right now. Yep.
Just confirm for us that it definitely is a turf toe.
Yes. Yes.
Do y'all have an idea of when that occurred? Was it on the play on his last offensive snap? Do you have an idea?
I just assumed that without getting into the details. I just assumed it was on that play.
Zach, do you feel like when you think about this injury happening to Joe and another injury you guys are dealing with, that you have to organizationally start to rethink how you protect Joe and the way that you guys have gone about that?
It's unfortunate that this happened. But again, that's part of football, and that's what's going to happen. Guys are in the pocket, guys are moving around. I don't know how a turf toe injury fully happens, how you got to get hit or stepped on. I know that potentially he could have been clean for 99% of the game, and the one play is where this happens. And so I get it. I understand where people are going to come from. It's going to be very attacking of us and our style of play. That's got us to a Super Bowl and an AFC championship and 2 division titles and won a lot of games for us. So we're always evaluating how we can protect our players and put them in the best position possible. So I take accountability for that. And if people want to blame me for putting them in a position, I'm fine taking that. But we'll continue to put the best plan forward to put Jake in a great position to go help us beat Minnesota.
And he said that.
What would you say to those people that look at the offensive line?
I don't really worry about the outside noise. We are always working to be the best version of the Cincinnati Bengals and trying to put ourselves in the best position. The players have bought in, the coaches have bought in. We feel like we put ourselves in a great position here at 2-0. By beating two teams that are difficult teams to beat. And so that's all I can say. I can't answer to everybody. You're never going to please 100% of the people. Whatever I say will please some, not the others. And so I'm very accepting of that and embrace the role that we're in. You know, it's challenging, and we'll continue to find ways to be successful.
Where's your confidence level in the offensive line right now?
Very high. If people are looking at the offensive line as the number one reason in that thing, that was an all 11 people on the same page in that last game. So especially early on, there's some things that we got to correct at every position to be able to all be on the same page. It is simple as that, and that's coaching, that's the receivers, that's the tight ends, that's the running backs, and that's the offensive line and the quarterback all working in unison with each other. So again, it's the line always takes all the blame for it. I've got confidence in those guys, and we're going to continue to get their best going forward.
So you don't think it wasn't really a line when you went back? It's not like a lot of people were looking at the line.
Yeah, I can't control what a lot of people think. I don't know who a lot of people are. I think that we got to do a better job as an offense, protecting each other, and all getting on the same page with the protections. So again, it's just part of the challenge playing football in this league, and you're going to get tough looks, and we got a lot of tough looks in that game. I give a lot of credit to Jacksonville. They had a great plan. It was very challenging. I thought as the game went on, our guys did a great job. I think if you look at the last drive of the game, I think we went 10 for 10 for 92 yards, and Jake was not touched by a player we couldn't account for. And so when it mattered the most, those guys came together and gave Jake great protection. The two times he got hit, one was on scat protection, we can't block that guy. One was on a Abby safety off the edge, we can't block him. It's a running clock, 2 minute, completes it to Jamar, beats the extra hitter with the throw. The line did a great job, and the backs did a great job. So at the end of the game, those guys really stepped up and gave us what we needed to be able to go 92 yards in 3.5 minutes and eat up all but 18 seconds on the clock and score a touchdown to win the game.
Outside of the final drive that you just talked about, did you notice a difference in the performance of the offensive line when Jake was in the game and with Joe?
No, I mean, there's corrections we make as the game goes with the running backs and the tight ends and the receivers and the linemen as a whole. So I think as the game goes, there's always this, okay, here's how they're going to play us. That was a challenging coordinator. He'd spent 1 year in Green Bay. So is that his identity? He's played one game against Carolina. They were up 20-3 at halftime after a lightning delay. So they had control of that game. So what are we really going to get from these guys? That was an extremely challenging plan to put together. That as the game evolved, you had to see, okay, this is maybe more of his identity and how he's going to attack us. And so I really felt like as we continue to adapt to all the different pressure looks we were seeing, it was okay, this is their plan. Here's how we can counteract that. I thought our guys handled it really well. I thought our coaches really did a good job in the second half. So that's a lot of it, and that's credit to Jacksonville. I thought they coordinators did a great job and were very prepared and put us in tough spots, and I thought that we countered the right way and gave our guys a chance.
I know that you said Joe is usually upbeat in situations like this, but just given how many of these injuries have happened to him and what we know about just how much time he spent in the offseason and how important his craft is, do you have to be extra aware of how this could potentially take a toll on him mentally this time around?
I haven't thought of it that way, so I'm sure as time will pass, I'll have a better answer for you.
I think one of the things that you mentioned in 23 that you appreciated about Jake is you could still game plan for the opponent coming up, and Jake could step in there and execute the game plan regardless of who the quarterback is. Is it the same way this time around where it's not going to – Joe could have been playing or Jake's playing,
Sure.
You're still going to attack the team?
Sure, very, very similar. And again, it's always, as the week goes – and I'm one-on-one with Joe or sitting in the quarterback meeting, I'm looking at Joe as I'm asking the questions. Hey, what do you like here? Do you like this? Do you like that? I'm looking at Joe and I'm asking Joe the questions. Now I'm looking at Jake. Jake, what do you like this? Do you not like this? And so that's the difference in kind of the last 10% of the game plan as we're making decisions as coaches. Do we like this? Do we not? A lot of times I go to Joe and I want his feedback on that stuff because if he loves a play, then I got to call it. If he doesn't like a play, then I'm not going to put him in that situation. So now that just transfers to Jake. And sometimes with Jake, that may lean a little bit in a different direction for that 10%, but that's usually how our process goes. And I'm very comfortable with the communication with Jake. Jake's always been very honest done a great job telling us and being transparent with what he likes and doesn't like, and so we'll fit that into whatever plan we have for Minnesota.
You kind of alluded to this a little bit, but the style of play, is there a certain level of risk that comes with it, knowing how explosive you'll want to be as an offense? I mean, how much of that kind of is
Yeah, there's always a risk. I think if you watch a lot of the top offenses in this league, especially in this conference, you're going to see a lot of quarterbacks running around in the pocket making big plays, and so that's just part of it. You know, you have a great quarterback who can extend plays, and the receivers we got, you're going to hit big plays. You're not going to say don't do that. We've all sat here and watched all the game-breaking plays we've made when we've extended plays and made plays. So I think just as overall say, hey, we're not going to be aggressive and we're just going to run the ball 40 times a game. That doesn't play to a lot of our strengths, because our strengths are throwing the football to our receivers and our tight ends and backs and our linemen protecting, and our quarterbacks being able to make plays in the game. So that's what we lean into. Sure. We go into every game. What's the best plan for us to have? Ideally, we can get a 21-0 lead on a team and just hammer them with the run game and the play. That would be great. That's just not how it's really played out for us yet. And so maybe someday we'll get to that point and we can really lean on that and have a different identity for that week. But we're going to do whatever it takes to win the game.
Did you notice a difference in Jacksonville's defense when you went back and watched from what they did when Joe was in versus after the fact when Jake was in at quarterback?
No differences. No, I'd say a lot of the same thing. I mean, the correction tape we made today was a lot of the same things that showed up. I mean, they had a lot that they gave us. There were a lot of difficult looks, a lot of challenging looks. I think that they've done a great job. I think they're going to challenge a lot of teams with that kind of stuff this year. So again, we just had to problem solve it as we went. But no, we both guys got similar looks over the course of the game.
Does Jake have the same green light to audible as Joe does?
Yeah. Yes.
What gives you the most confidence? Obviously 2-0, trying to stretch up to 3-0 this week against in a tough environment.
We are 2-0. It doesn't feel like 2-0 right now. But 2-0. I think that's all we control is winning this next game. And so the energy and the confidence in our locker room right now is sky high. It's found a way to win 2 games by guys stepping up and making plays at the end of games. And so again, just sitting at home yesterday night, watching all these other teams play and watching the highlights, like every game, every team's got a couple flaws right now that they're trying to work through, and you're hopeful that you're finding a way to win early in the year, like we've done 2 weeks in a row now. But I can't tell you enough, like the positivity we got in this room and the confidence we have in this room, because we saw the mistakes we made, and a lot of them are so correctable that we're going to continue to improve as we evolve as the season goes on. And so the guys see, like, we didn't even and Jacksonville probably feels the same way, but there are so many things that we could have done better that we'll be cleaner on as every week passes, and to still find a way to win and be 2-0 is exciting for these guys, and we're going to continue to capitalize on that.
Why do you think that hasn't really dropped off? Normally when your starting quarterback goes out, especially a guy like Joe, there is a bit of a drop off. Why do you think there's
Yeah, we're finding a way to win. I mean, make no mistake, but losing Joe is a big piece of what we do. But we have to we still play a game in 6 days. That doesn't change. And so continue to capitalize on the great things that we're doing as a team and the feeling that we got and the work that the guys have put in. And so, again, Jake's the next man up, and we got a lot of confidence in him. And guys are going to continue to step up and carry the load. And I'm just excited to watch this team continue to compete, because when you're in the locker room post-game, you're in the meeting we're in just now, you would have a lot of confidence in this team to go on the road and find a way to get a win and be 3-0, and then we'll focus on whatever the next opponent is.
We've had
Announced that J.J. McCarthy is going to be out this week, so I assume Carson Wentz would start. Just your reaction to
I mean, Carson's had a lot of success in this league. Watched my brother was in Philly when they drafted Carson and played him a couple times. So he's always challenging. He's dynamic with his legs. He's got a big arm. He's played in some big moments. He's seen a lot of different looks. So there's a reason they acquire him as the backup. He's done a lot of really good things over the course of his career.
Do you have a surgery date yet?
I have no, I don't.
So I guess when you say you don't have a definitive timeline yet on what that would be,
Yeah.
would y'all get a sense of when you would get a timeline on when you could potentially be back?
I think in the next couple of days. I think we're always going to be slow to give a timeline, because that's years of experience sitting up here talking. I just, good or bad, you learn your lessons there. So I'll always be protective of that, whatever direction it were to go. But again, one thing I know about Joe is, like, he's going to do everything he can to attack a rehab process if he gets to that point. And so, again, I don't know what a toe rehab looks like, but I know that Joe's going to get everything he's got. He's going to do everything he can to get on the field for it. I got full confidence in that. So, again, I'm not trying to just be vague with the timeline that I'm unsure of. I also know I've stuck my foot in my mouth in years past by giving that, but we'll get the surgery date nailed down if he's going to do that and move forward with all the information we can have.
Is there urgency to do it quickly, to figure out
I
that
think,
quickly, to make sure?
I'm not a
if there's
doctor,
chance
I'm not a trainer. I think there's reasons why it wouldn't be done at this moment. You know, there's a couple day process there of how they'd have to sort that out. So I think that's why. Yeah, of course, I'm sure Joe would love to do it at the earliest point, but we'll continue to work through that.
Sorry, I don't mean to talk about the defense.
I'm ready for anything you got for me, Jeff. Give it to me. The fans were awesome. Is that what you were about to ask me? Yeah, they set the standard day one.
No, but you can make the argument you're 2-0 because of the defense. And
Sure.
is there anybody who you think's leading that charge? And is there anything that surprised you that in the last couple of games with them?
No, I think the defense, these turnovers they keep getting for us are huge because they're momentum killers for the other team, especially when you get a red zone pick like Dak's got. That just changes the whole momentum of the game because it's really takes 7 off the board potentially for them. Worst case scenario 3 or best case scenario 3. Takes that off the board for them, is a momentum crusher, gives us a lot of energy on the sidelines, gives our fans, especially at home, a lot of energy. So I think that those have been turning points in the last 2 games, just getting these turnovers that they're getting. Which aren't easy ones. You know, they're tips and guys are going and getting them. Dak's made a great play on the corner out in the end zone. So love the momentum that they give in the offense in some of those key moments. And again, we'll continue to fine tune what we're doing best and evolve as a defensive unit. But I knew going into this game, watching Jacksonville and knowing their staff and knowing their talent and having watched them years past, it's a really dangerous offense. They give you a lot of stuff that stresses you. With your eye discipline pre-snap, they put you in a lot of compromising situations post-snap. I really feel that Liam does a great job with those guys, and you're going to look up 10 weeks from now, and they're going to find a way to be one of the top offenses in the league. So proud of the way that our defense just buckled down, solved the problems, got us off the field, especially the sudden change on the 12-yard line at the end of the game. I mean, that's a game. That's 4 plays right there that probably don't get talked about enough, that they found a way to stop them and get the offense the ball back.
You're not that far from preseason games and training camp. Do you think that's helpful for Jake, that he hasn't been, sitting around getting minimal work during the week?
I think it's probably more helpful than hurtful that it's closer to that time because he's gotten that live action, fairly recently in the last month or so. So takes a lot of our scout team reps. Brad Crickthorpe does a great job at different times, special teams, post practice, Fridays, making sure he gets the reps that he's not getting, those live reps that are on the script that Joe's getting. Jake gets some of that opportunity. So I think Brad's done an excellent job preparing him for the moment, and Jake has done everything he can to control what he can control, and I'm excited to watch him play.
He won big at Washington. He was 4-3 when he filled in 2 years ago. Are there intangible qualities there that, people gravitate to for him?
Well, yeah, he connects with everybody in the locker room. He's done a great job. That's just natural for him to spend time with everybody in different environments. And so I think guys really respond well to that. But most of all, just his time in the building and how he works, guys really appreciate and respect that. And so again, you have a lot of confidence when he goes out there that, okay, Jake's more than capable to be able to lead us to a win. You threw me off with Washington. I was Commanders in my head for a long time. And I put it together at the end there, yeah, but it took me a second.
Zac, I was just thinking about Chase Brown's role in the offense, and just wondering from you, how do you feel like it's gone for him?
So I think there's a couple runs that we got bigger potential on that we're one block away. And so, again, those are things we're focusing on right now is we can't be one block away. We got to get everybody on the same page, everyone finishing, so that Chase can get in those situations where we get the explosives. And instead of 3.1, you're up in the 4s. And so, again, those moments showed up on the tape for us where the potential was there, and we just didn't get it done, and there's no excuse for that. And so, again, that's something moving forward we got to do a great job of is getting more out of our run game, the explosiveness that can be there, and we'll continue to try to find ways to do that.
Would you say the second half yesterday probably wasn't conducive to, just felt like it demanded more of a passing?
There's moments, and this has happened to us over the years, where it becomes you're down 7, and time becomes your enemy, and we spend a little more time throwing it.
Thanks, Zac.
Okay, thank you all.